All right. Hello, everybody. We are here to talk about this book tonight. I'm going to give it a minute because it always takes. Oh, I think we'll be up in a minute. Oh, we've got people in the comments.
Hey, y'all.
Yeah, hello. I always like play it in another tab and wait for like the ads to finish so that I can. Okay, cool. We're live. Yay! Hello. Hi, Heather. Hi, Jessica. Julia, how is everybody doing? So we're going to be talking about The Woman Who Rides Like a Man, book 3. We're getting there. One book left to go.
Oh, yeah, it is only one book left. That's it. That was quick.
Yeah.
That was really quick.
They read really fast too, which I
Yeah.
appreciate. So
I also feel like time is flying by this year. It's flying by.
No, it's like April's about to be over.
Oh. Man, oh man, oh man.
Yeah. It's been wild. Okay, so we have a few people here tonight. Maybe more people will trickle in. Hello. How is everybody doing? How has your week been? I feel like it's been a long week, but here we go. Had to rush to make sure you finish the book in time. Yeah, I hear you. I'm like, I got this one done a couple days ago, but my patron book club is Sunday night, and I'm like halfway through this beast. So that's my project right now.
That's your. I think you can do it. Are you listening to it on audio?
Yeah, I'm doing both. Like I'm listening while I read. So I think I'll be fine. It's a lot. It's very long. Hello. Hi Jennifer. Hey, that's okay. We'll still talk about it. It'll still be fun even if you didn't do the reread. Okay, so thoughts? How did you do with this one?
I gave this one 3 stars.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this was a 3-star read for me.
Okay.
I don't know. There was a lot that I did not like about this one. It was still a solid read. I still appreciated it. I think the pacing definitely was better in this one than it was in the last one.
Agreed.
But, man, John. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, what happened?
Yeah.
What happened? I was so frustrated by him.
Yep. I mean, eventually. Hello. Wow, reread second and third books in 2 days. That is impressive. John is trash in this book. That is
He's
true.
awful.
He is awful.
He's awful. And like I wasn't rooting for him to begin with. But
yeah. Like just assuming like, oh, I know that you're going to want to marry me because then you would get to be with me and I'm royalty. Like, why would you say no?
Exactly. I'm like, sir, what?
Like, do you know her? Yeah.
Had no idea. Did not know. I don't know. And then I did see, I know we talked about this a little bit in the last live show about the possibility of Rep being a little shaky, and it definitely is. It definitely is a little shaky, but I saw in your review that she did say something. Of course, I know you read the afterward.
As I do.
As you do. But it's good that she acknowledged that in her afterward of these new additions that she does not hold the same beliefs in terms of the representation. So I appreciated that, but it does it's a little hard to read with that being there, even with her acknowledging it. But
Yeah.
I don't think I bought into this story as much as I've bought into the other stories. I felt like Alana was a little too perfect in this one. Like, I don't know. It didn't grab me as much. So I'm beginning of it.
Yeah, I mean, I still liked it reasonably well, but this is definitely not my favorite. I ended up giving this one 4 stars, so definitely lower on the lower side for me. I think, but I mean, I have like the nostalgia factor going into it also, so it's a little different. To me, a lot of what I think she wanted to do with this book was exploring this thing of like women who don't want to just do what they're expected to do, which I think when she was writing this, that was very, I mean, it's still relevant on some level, but like I think especially then that was very relevant of like, no, I don't want to just like get married and settle down right away. I want to like see something of the world and figure out what I want. And I thought that was interesting. But yeah, like the Bazir people. And she does, like, for anybody wondering, in the afterword of this, which she wrote in 2014, because the original book came out in like 1986. So she wrote an afterword in 2014 talking about how, like, she no longer thinks that it's not feminist for women to be able to wear veils, because there's a whole thing of like Alana, like, trying to convince these girls they shouldn't wear veils on their faces. And like, it's interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah. Let's see. Kind of knew he was going to be a jerk. Yeah, I mean, you kind of see the beginnings of it, like the arrogance, kind of.
I like this. Yeah, I was about to say, I like this next comment. Exactly.
Yes. Yeah, agreed. That is so true. It's interesting. Yeah, I mean, and I agree with you, Leah. I mean, I think reading it now, I was like, ooh, okay. So I was glad that she addressed it in the afterword, and trying to think about like, okay, you were writing this in the 1980s and thinking about like what were like feminist ideas of like Middle Eastern cultures back then. It was very much in line with what this book is doing. But yeah, I do think that element doesn't really stand up. And she says in the thing like they weren't intended to be exactly like Muslims or something. They're supposed to be like pagans, but it is clearly taking inspiration from that. And yeah, it's not the best. Yeah, I mean, I think that's generally true. But yeah, well, it's interesting with George, right? Because then with George, she on her own is like, oh, well, now I feel like I can explore my more feminine side and feel okay about it without feeling like I have to, which I think is interesting.
Reasons why I'm Team George, okay? I just feel like she can definitely be a little bit more, just because she feels more relaxed, more able to kind of, explore and be herself without all of these things attached to them. And I mean, I feel like she tried to give John a chance where she tried to say, in one part she said, I expect him to be somewhat spoiled because he's a prince. You have people catering to you, pampering you, but, I felt bad when she felt like, he's marrying or he wants to marry me for all of the wrong reasons. And and the more that he talked and tried to explain, the more she felt like those reasons are not going away. Like these wrong reasons are not going away. But I I just felt like they had such a good, and maybe I didn't see it because I felt like they had such a good relationship, even though I was not rooting for him in terms of like her love interest. I thought they had such a good relationship. So I think for me, it was kind of disappointing as a reader to see him just do this whole 180 where I'm like, sir, who are you? Like, what happened to like the kind and passionate and understanding type of, so
Yeah.
for me, that was a tough part for me.
Yeah. I mean, I think, you get mentions that she thinks it's like all these months not having Alana there and having all these
Yeah.
girls all over him in court, and like
Yeah.
that he had kind of like gotten used to that. But yeah, it's definitely a very different approach. Like I just could not. I was like, whoa, okay, you're just like assuming she's saying yes, and then assuming she's gonna leave with you without having a conversation with her first. Excuse me, like
Exactly. She was like, sir, what? And then it was even the pregnancy thing was like, come on, John. Do you
yeah,
still have the charm around you? I expected you're gonna take that off when we
when
get
we get
married.
married, yeah, I
And
was
she's
like,
like,
you
hold
expect what?
up. I
Mm-hmm.
don't wanna have kids, which I
Mm-mm.
like. I like that conversation happened because I think, especially, the time in which this is written, you think expectation, as a woman, you get married, and then people like, oh, when are the kids coming? And it's like, hold
Yeah,
up, I may not even want to have, and that still happens today,
yeah,
where
yeah.
people will look at couples and be like, oh, when are the kids coming? Like, so I'm glad that she did tackle
Mm-hmm.
that, but the
Yeah.
way in which she had to tackle it, I was so disappointed in John. This is the most disappointed I've been in a character in a minute. I was so like, I dislike characters, but this was like a straight like disappointment because I felt like he was
Yeah.
just so supportive, and I'm like, who are you?
I know. I know. Well, okay, if it makes you feel any better, in the last book, he does have a growth arc.
Okay, okay,
So, like, I'll
that
just
makes me feel better.
I'll
That
just
does
throw
make
that
me
out
feel
there.
better.
So, he's not like a jerk forever, but like
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Um, George let her be the woman she wants to be, while John wants her to be how he wants her
No,
to
he
be.
wants
Yes.
it. Yeah, that is true.
PSA to everybody out there, like, find a person who wants you to be who you are and doesn't want you to be what they want you to be. Because that is a miserable relationship to
That's a
be in.
word, because you will be miserable the entire time.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I was Team George also. I love George. He's
Yeah,
great. Mhm.
he is great.
I agree.
Okay, yeah, yeah,
That's true.
that
That's
is
true.
true. I think, it's it's kind of bad. It's like, you have those red flags, and you're like, I may just, I'm just gonna look away,
Hmm.
and then it gets to the point where it's like, no, you can't look away because a train wreck is happening right in front of you, so you have no choice but to acknowledge it. That's kind of how I feel in this situation, where it was like,
Yeah.
there were red flags, you ignore them, and then here goes the train wreck. So
Yep.
now you can't ignore who he is.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I um I think I was still mad at him because I was definitely the sort of person. I've always been the sort of person where I'm like, "Excuse you, you're going to tell me what I'm doing without talking to me."
Exactly. Yeah.
So I was always kind of that way. But yeah, no, not here for it. So this book's interesting because it's kind of got like two parts to it. So a lot of
Mhm,
it is with the Vizier, but then you have the whole
mhm,
thing with George. And I did think it was interesting too, because then you change perspectives and you get George as like the
mhm,
perspective character at the end.
mhm. Yeah.
Um, so that was, yeah, I thought that was interesting. Because
It
that's
was
I think
different.
the first time we've had that.
That switch like that. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. It was the first time we had that narrative switch. I think that I don't know whether I enjoyed the first or the second half of the book more.
Mm.
I think I like the magical elements of the first book, like seeing magic manifest in other people in the way that it did.
Hmm.
I thought that that was pretty interesting, but I'm also curious about her brother. Now her brother's off the wall too. Like,
Hmm.
it's a lot of characters in this book that were off the wall this time. I'm like, what's
Yeah.
wrong with everybody? Yeah, her brother. Her brother's just, and then we talked about that a little bit, like, because y'all like, I don't want to spoil it. Her
Yeah.
brother is what in the world?
Well, and I had forgotten, like, I knew there was something, but I had forgotten that it was, like, trying to bring back the what's his name from the dead,
Dead. Like what?
which I'm like, "Oh, I thought we were done with this villain, but no, apparently not
So
yet.
I'm
Tom is
thinking,
a problem."
I was like, okay, and that's what I thought too. I thought when
Mhm.
she killed him, that was it. And then here goes Tom resurrecting the dead. For what, sir? Like,
Yeah. Well, and, like, taking Alana's magic and then, like, almost killing George's mom without realizing what he was doing,
he does not
like,
care. He does
not
not care.
good. Had forgotten that too. Yeah, I had forgotten about that part of it. I was like, "Oh, right." Yeah.
Yeah, he's completely out. Yeah, yes, Heather. Her brother does not value people. You could see that clear as day, and it's true that we once again, and it's crazy. She did set up a lot of this stuff that you see in this book. She did set up in the second book in terms of like
Yeah.
um character changes. I think that, it wasn't super, super like, written on the wall, but she did give hints that these
Yeah.
people are not necessarily headed in the direction that you think they're headed in. But I mean, it's kind of like, I don't know and then the ending for me with her dream. And it's like, oh yeah, no, you can't have prophetic dreams yet. And I'm like, oh no. I think she's think she is.
Well, it's like constantly this thing, right, of her not wanting to accept her magic and having to do it. And I think that's the
Yeah,
interesting thing too with like becoming the stand-in shaman is like she's like, "No, this is not what I want, but oh, I guess now I have to use my magic again and train other people in magic." And like
yeah,
that's now part of her legacy is beginning
it
this
is.
magic school, which is interesting. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, 100%. Like, he's like, "Well, I can, therefore I will." There's not like it's he doesn't really have much of a system of morality from what you can tell. He's just kind of like, I don't know, might makes right, I guess.
yeah,
Uh, yes.
yes,
Yeah, that's interesting.
yes.
Yeah, because and she cares about people too. Like, um, yeah.
She is invested in people. I think she's very in tune with just people in general. I think she
Mhm.
is as a character. Um, but you're right. I do believe that had she not had that guidance in the second book, that she could have gone down a similar path.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting, right? Because the one of the things that we saw in the first book was that thing of like, you need to make sure you use your magic to heal to offset the killing you're doing. And
Yeah,
every time book, she's doing that. And in this book, it was like helping to heal what's his name? The voice guy before
yeah.
like to help keep him alive long enough.
I feel like quite a few people died in this book too.
Yeah, I was like, and
Yeah,
the kid, I was like, oh my gosh.
the
Like,
boys,
don't
and then
mess with stuff.
I
Yeah.
was like, but I really wasn't expecting him to die. I thought maybe like he would get injured, but like straight like die.
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
Yeah.
and then the voice guy died, and then the sorceress died. There was a lot of people dying or close to
Yeah.
dying in this book.
Hmm. Well, and even with the kid too, it's the same sort of theme, right? Of like he cared more about power than people. He was too
Yeah,
arrogant. Like this is like a consistent issue.
it is.
Um, yes, the resources I can provide. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Obsessed. It's kind of like if you ever see those like
Mhm.
horror movies where you have a scientist who or someone. I think about this in terms of what's that movie that I think it's called Rose Red. it was like a straight to TV thing. But one of the ladies that was like investigating this haunted house was a scientist, and she was willing to sacrifice everyone for the advancement of her studies type of thing. So I think it's stuff like that where people
Yeah.
they're willing to for everyone to die if it means it increases their knowledge
Yeah.
and power.
That's where you get into trouble. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Like Alana is the only sort of person he cares about at all. And even her, he uses and he'll apologize after, but he still kind of is using her. So, yeah, that's interesting. I wasn't expecting this much death.
Yeah, I wasn't either. I think not of characters that we either were familiar with or got the opportunity to learn a little bit about. It was kind of it was a lot more than I was anticipating.
Yeah. It's pretty messed up. I don't know about Juz. Like, I do feel like killing him was like pretty harsh. But I guess like it made a point. I mean, yeah, it is harsh. I mean, it's a lot. I mean, but it does happen. You know what I mean? Like there are people who like can't listen and get themselves in situations and like, yeah, I don't know.
That was tough though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish he could have just like had a really severe sort of he was
Jessica. Jessica said, I told you. Jessica said, I told you once. And that's that.
I do sort of wish it had been like he was severely injured or something where you couldn't even use magic for a long time. I don't know, like, you know, like a really serious but yeah, no, like he was dead. Like that was a lot. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that is true.
I mean,
that's a good point. Jessica, that is a good point.
You're not wrong.
You're not wrong. It's not like he didn't know that the last shaman ended up in a really, crappy situation. So yeah, but she does run with that theme a lot though, that that search for power over people or knowledge over people has some dire consequences when it's all said and done. I can only imagine how that's going to kind of spill into the next book. Now I'm really interested in seeing how this dynamic is going to work out between Alana and Tom. This is really great.
Yeah, no, same. And I don't even honestly, I don't remember how it all resolves. Like I remember how the romance stuff resolves, but I don't remember how the other stuff resolves.
Yeah, I'll be interested in there because clearly I feel like they're going to have a standoff of some sorts. But I wonder how that's going to work out. Like, how does that standoff work out with two siblings who are relatively close to each other? I mean, they were super dependent upon each other. Going back to the first book, they were super dependent upon each other as kids with no active, parents really. But it's amazing. They literally start in the same place and take two very, very different paths when it's all said and done. It's almost like it comes back full circle for them to have their final standoff. Yeah.
No, it's true. Didn't the sword have the strength there? Yeah. I mean, it did, which is why she told them not to touch it.
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah.
But he was, in the middle of him trying to do it. Why should you have all the power? It's like, it wasn't the way. Yeah. No. Yeah.
Well, and like he got close before that too, like where like he had been warned multiple times.
Yes.
So yeah. But yeah. That was intense. Yeah, I'm curious to see. Okay, so far my favorite book has been the first book.
I think mine as well. I think because I gave it, I'm hoping that this fourth book brings it full circle because I think I gave the first one 5 stars. I gave the second one 4 stars. and I'm giving this one 3 stars.
3 stars.
I'm hoping that it comes back, you know, full circle and everything is tied together nicely.
Yeah.
But as we said, like, the pacing of this felt a lot better, because that was one of my major complaints of the last one, was that it moved too fast for me, with, like, the times. But this
Well, it
one,
was like covering like several years. This one was 1 year, which I was like, cool.
This was better for me.
That's good. Which, it's interesting, right? She's like 19 at the end of this book. So like, we've come a long way.
We have. She was just a baby.
Yeah, I mean, she was like 11.
It's a lot of time for 3 books.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right, but I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. Lana told him. She did tell him more than once. It's true. Yes, kids are like that. It's so true. Oh my goodness. Yep. Yeah, I mean, well, and that's the thing that's so sad about it, right? Is like, if he had, like, he also kind of like distanced himself from all the people he was studying with when he was learning magic.
Yeah. I think that's a huge difference too. That's a huge. Maybe it speaks a little bit to the power of friendship, and having friendship in terms of like a support system. Because you're right. When he was at school, or when he was learning, he did not have any type of friends or whatsoever. You know, he ostracized himself pretty much from everyone. Whereas Alana has had a completely different experience in terms of a support system. So it is sad in a way, because I feel like Tom went from one environment in which they didn't really have much of a support system to another environment where he was kind of a loner, and this is how he's turned out. It's almost feel like he's a product of his environment in the same way, because he was a child going there. It is sad. I don't, I still don't like him, but
no, but it is whereas like, Alana got adopted in this book,
she did get adopted,
which was cool. Hello. Yes, same. I think it was my favorite. Like, I think books 1 and 4 were always my favorite. So it's interesting that is still seems to be holding up. The puberty stuff was really good.
That first one starts off with a bang. It is a powerful first book. It is a very, very powerful first book.
Yep. It is. Yeah. No, it's true. Yeah, he hasn't really connected with other people, and like, he's just kind of on his own. Like, Alana is it for him, and even her, he's kind of like,
he's pushing her
away too. Well, and I think he's jealous, like, because we get mentions of that he's like not happy that she got made heir of somebody else and got adopted. Like, I think he's also jealous of the relationships she has.
Man.
Oh, and the girl, okay, so this is interesting, right? Like, the girl that had been with what's his name? The Duke, or she now is with Tom and is the one pushing him towards doing this, like, raising from the dead thing. Yeah, she's like daring it. So this girl, like, she's just been
toxic.
trouble.
Just toxic.
So much
just
trouble.
Toxic behavior. Yeah, because I forget.
Duke Roger. Yes, thank you, Jessica. Yes.
Who said that he did it just to prove, he did it to prove to her that he could do it. And
it's like she was like taunting him. Well, it's like the lack of his having a relationship, right? Like, he doesn't have relationships with people, And so she's the
Yes.
one, and she's manipulating that.
To bring back that crazy man.
Mm-hmm.
But I
Yep.
bet she knew. I bet she knew that if she taunted him enough, she can get him to do it, which is
I'm
all it's
sure.
all a setup.
Of course.
Man,
Of
not
course.
Tom getting played.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Yep. Yes. Yeah, but it's like he just he was like a genius basically, like a magical genius, and everybody resented him for being so smart, and so he
Yep.
just kind of was like, well, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do, kind of thing.
So then he just he didn't even try. I don't feel like Tom. I do feel like it's kind of like one of those situations where both parties played a part because they did not like him because he was so gifted. But Tom also didn't do anything to make that hatred kind of subside. Like,
No,
if
he was
anything, he
not
added fuel
helping.
to the fire.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
so, you know, both
100%.
parties played a role. Tom just
Yep.
was not. Tom could not believe. Oh, they don't like me. Well, what else can I do to make you upset?
Yeah. Delia, yes, thank you. Delia is the girl
Hot
that's
mess.
causing problems. So yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
Alana has friends to keep her grounded. Don't remember half the stuff.
Nice, Heather.
That's funny. The first book is so good. It really is. And I'm excited to read book 4 because I remember it as being my other favorite of the series. So evil. Yep. He's so smart. He doesn't realize he's getting played.
Book
Look,
smart.
yeah, because he thinks he knows all this stuff and doesn't like. But there's like this emotional manipulation happening. It's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they did. I mean, I think
so.
he made it worse. I think, but like they were pissed that he was able to like take all his tests early, and I don't know. That was my reading of it anyway.
I think so too. I think that it was. I think that they did, and I could see that being a real situation where he was so naturally talented and gifted that it would make other people upset. But like Bethany just said, like he didn't do anything to make it better either. So you know, he just kept the fire going.
Yep. We have that. Was trying to what?
Tom was trying to find the writer because
of Roger. Oh, well, I mean, maybe, I don't know if that's true. I'm not sure about that.
Are you talking about when he was when Alana and Tom were communicating and he was trying to be mindful of Duke Roger and Duke Roger being able to kind of feel out his capabilities?
Yeah, maybe there was some of that.
There was
I wonder,
there was a little bit of that.
It makes me wonder if that's why he wants to bring him back, is because he was the only person who was like kind of up to his same level with magic.
Not we raising people from the dead so we can battle them to kill them again.
Or to have a buddy who you can like, talk magic with or something. I don't know.
What if he's upset that Alana killed him and he didn't?
Maybe.
That's petty.
It is.
But I wouldn't put it past Tom at this point.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. Okay, 1 and 4 were your favorites too. Look, you know what? It's probably because like 4 wraps up the romance stuff, and I always liked that. So, yeah. Yeah. Yes. I think that I agree with that. Roger was watching Tom, but he was playing stupid. Yeah. Like he was acting like he wasn't as powerful as he was. Maybe that's very possible. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. said powerful upcoming sorcerers tended to meet early ends when they were yeah, so he was trying to fly under the radar so that Duke Roger wouldn't kill him off. Well, because he is trying to, like, he did pretty much try to kill off anybody who could compete with him, so that's a fair concern.
No, this is Tom's going on a power trip. This is Tom said he's raising him from the
We
dead.
should all like get like. Did you see Mari's t-shirts for her merch? Nerds on a power trip.
Listen,
it's related to this whole like drama thing with what's her name, Lauren Hubbard.
Man, oh man.
I feel like Tom needs a Nerds on a Power Trip.
He needs Nerds on a Power Trip t-shirt because this man literally, I feel like, raised a whole nother man from the dead just to prove that he's better. And I just, just for the life of me, can't understand why you literally are trying to flex your muscles. For what reason here?
I love it. Oh my gosh, you got the shirt. I love it. That's so funny. Yes.
Yes.
That's so funny.
Yes.
I saw the shirt. I was like, that's great. Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, he needs his own. He needs his own t-shirt.
Yep. Tom is petty. Yes. Oh, 4 introduces a new character is one of your favorite. Oh, exciting. I can't even. It's been so long since I've read them. I don't. I'm curious to see how it goes. This is accurate. Yes.
That is 100% accurate. Oh gosh. Has anybody ever thought to adapt these books?
I don't know. I mean, they would be great, right?
They would be great film.
They would be really good. Yeah.
Yes,
or like you could do it as like a Netflix series because there's more in this world. You could do like whole. It would be so good.
Somebody should adapt these.
Somebody should adapt these. They would be fantastic.
On screen.
Mm-hmm. It would be good. Yeah. You know, Alana also has her cat, which I think is helpful.
Alana got mad at that cat.
Yeah.
She got, what was the scene? it wasn't funny, but I was laughing because it was, I'm so used to Alana being this very, and not saying that she was weak, but she definitely, I felt like, touched a little bit more into her emotional side. And just going through the ups and downs, I think, of having a love interest when the cat said to her about John, because she said what did she say? She said something about John, what he was saying about her not being feminine or whatever the case may be. And the cat was like, well, I mean, you know that you pushed him to that point. And she's like, you could go be with him too. I was like, I feel that moment because I've done that to another human. Like, well, if you agree with them, you can go with them too. I was like, oh gosh, Alana's just like, I can't deal. That was funny to me.
Yeah, I agree. It's funny. Oh, this is interesting. So she said a few times they bought but never actually produced it. Yeah, I wonder though, like, but now with what Netflix is able to do, like now would be the time, like with Shadow and Bone taking out, like this would be a good time to.
It would be a good time.
Be great. Interesting. Fans were talking about when the Harry Potter movies. Yeah, it would be a good choice. Like, but I feel like also now the technology and like the types of streaming stuff that's happening, like it would be a good pick.
It would.
Pitch it to the Netflix people.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like there's so many stories. Like you could do multiple seasons. It would and like intersecting timelines. It would be awesome. I wish they would do that. Yes. This is true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it is interesting because like women are told like, oh, well, like, why are you so upset? He like, I mean, it's like he just wants to marry you. Why can't you just be nice about it? Like, you know,
Because her alarm signals were flying like
as they
off.
should have been.
Her inner dialogue or her inner monologue was just like, "But I don't want to have kids." Like, that's what
She's
Alana
like,
is
I'm not
going
ready to get
through.
married. And
Yeah,
she's like, I need more time to think about it. When I say I need more time, I mean I need more time. Like,
exactly. And then it was like, who said to her, um, the way that he's walking around, I thought that you had already accepted the proposal. She was like, I, I didn't say yes.
mm-mm, mm-mm. Well, you know, what I really appreciate about this is that it has this thing of like that like loving each other isn't necessarily a good enough reason to get married, you
Yes.
know? Because I don't think that's
Yes.
something you see a lot of times, especially in
No.
YA stories, but it's true. Like you can love somebody and still not be good together for that kind of relationship, you know?
That's a whole word. Because people still think, and then I feel like people do get offended when you say like love isn't enough. People are like, why isn't? Because it's not.
It's not.
It's not. It's not. You know, it's a very, very, very important factor, but
Yeah.
it is not enough to sustain a relationship. So to
Yeah.
see that on page for her to say how we feel is not
Mhm.
enough
Yes.
for us to move forward. And I'm glad that that was reaffirmed when,
Mhm.
you know, she was told a lot of people are not wise enough to recognize that they're not prepared for marriage. And
Oh,
I like that she addressed that because, you know, for me personally, I do think that marriage is a big deal. I think it's a huge
yeah.
deal. And,
Yeah.
you know, when you step into, I feel like a commitment like that, a union like that, like that's a huge thing. Like,
Mhm.
I mean, people are like, oh yeah, you know, you're signing off on this paper. No, no, you're making this huge commitment that I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
I personally don't take it lightly either. So I'm glad that she was able to say, you know, I'm not ready.
Yeah.
And while I would love to do this, or while I would, you know, I really care about this person, I can't use a fantasy to justify stepping into a marriage.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. No, I agree. I mean, marriage is a big deal, and like you know, I've seen with friends at this point, you know, like what happens when
yeah,
it's not enough. You
yeah,
know? Like
yeah. I have to. Yeah,
um yeah, and like and I think, you know, when I look at my own marriage, which has been a good one, it's like, yeah, we love each other, but we had a lot of other things going for us as well that are
yeah,
the things that I think have maintained it for like almost 10 years now, you know?
yeah.
Like it's not just, well, we love each I mean, like, yes, you need to love each other, of course, but you also need to
But
like
yeah,
have good communication and have like want similar things and have
things
like
like
be on the same page with like I don't know, like there's
people
so
forget all that stuff. Just it's like all that stuff just goes out the window. Yeah, like
mhm,
I love this person. This is a
mhm,
complete fantasy, and then people get married, and then reality sets in, and it's
yeah,
like, oh, we probably should not have done this. This we are not ready for this. Which you know,
yeah,
I mean, you live and you learn. But I'm glad that um, she did include that, especially thinking about the time in which this book was published.
oh
The
yeah,
you know the need to say as a woman like you know I don't think I want to have kids as soon as I get married, and then saying like, you know what, as a matter of fact, I don't think I even want to get married right now. So I think for you know for the 80s, like that's a huge deal. I mean,
huge,
that's a
yeah,
huge deal now. We're coming around to it, but I
yeah,
still feel like, you know, there still needs to be that conversation about like, you know, I may not want to get married. It just I may not want to step into that much of a commitment. Or, you know, like
yeah,
if I get married, I may not want to have kids as soon as I get married, or I may not want to have kids at all. So
yeah,
I think that's just it was an important message for me personally. That's an element that I really, really, really liked about this book.
Yeah, I agree. Well, and just the thing of being like telling girls it's okay to say, yes, I love you, but that doesn't mean I automatically want to get married. Like
Yeah,
you can choose if that's what you want. There's nothing
yeah,
necessarily wrong with that either. But
yeah,
that's, I don't know. I appreciate that because I think most people are gonna love, fall in love.
yeah.
Maybe not everybody. Like some people might be the first person they fall in love with is who they get married and stay with. But a lot of people, like many of us, fallen in love before we're with the person that we actually marry for life. And
I've fallen
you
in
know,
love with some people, and I'm like, my goodness, I am so
thank
happy.
God.
Thank God, I
Thank God
dodged the
I'm not
bullet.
with them. Yes, 100%. I hear you on that. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yep.
yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah.
agree.
He was
Miles is the best. Miles is good. But he didn't push her, he let her
no,
make her own decision. Which
yes,
I would
he,
he's her adopted father. Notes parenting a young adult. That is probably how you should do it.
yeah. If he let her work that out by
Let her
herself,
work it out.
and
Yeah.
she was shocked that he had a look of that he was proud. She was shocked that he was
Yeah.
proud of the
Yeah.
fact that she was like, no, I don't think this is for me. And it's like, good. I'm
Mhm.
glad you
Mhm.
realized that.
Yeah. There's just a lot of good stuff. Yeah, enough to stay
Yeah.
together for life. 100. Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah, I just think she is a great example for young people. There is a lot. Yeah. Well, and see, okay, this is the thing too. People don't always think about, right? Is when you are marrying somebody, you are also joining lives together, and you got to think about what is that going to look like if I'm partnering with this person, with their career, with their family, if they have kids from a previous relationship, if they, in John's case, if you're going to be king, what are those responsibilities, and is that what you want? Like,
Man, makes me think about poor Meghan Markle.
look, oh,
Oh, geez. You want to talk about marrying and then not knowing what you were getting, what you were walking into?
oh my
Like
gosh, yeah,
that's
no
tough.
kidding.
That is tough.
Yeah, it's a
That's really
lot.
really tough.
It's a lot. There's a reason. There's a reason the spouse is always the murderer. Oh boy, yeah, yeah. That's funny. Yes, yes, exact. Oh, the communication. I'm like, you think you're ready to marry this woman, and you were just assuming things for her and not communicating. Excuse you, no.
Commanding. Why just no? Did you
Yeah,
ask?
no, yeah.
Yeah,
Meghan
yeah,
Markle. Yep, yep. There's a lot. Yeah.
yeah,
That
yeah.
I don't understand how you do that. You are literally you marrying into a royal, oh man, you gotta
I
know
don't
what you're
I don't
doing.
know if I 100%, and this is just me. I don't know if I 100% buy into that because
Ugh,
is
yeah,
that's too big of a situation not to do a little bit of digging. But I know that she did not know the other stuff that
yeah,
she was possibly going to walk into like that. I don't think anybody could prepare you for that. But I mean, once again, that goes back to I think that their marriage is more than just love because they went through a lot to come
yeah,
out on the other side the way that they are as far as presenting themselves as such a strong union. Like that you can't love is not going to prepare you to walk through that. Love will help, but it's not all that you can have to walk
mhm,
through situations like that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think seeing them together is impressive too, where I'm like, okay, you guys have something here that's
Yeah.
really,
Yeah.
and that you're getting through that is impressive. Well, and the fact that he almost seems to see it as her kind of saving him in some ways from
Yeah.
this oh, it's just the whole thing is so heartbreaking.
It is so sad.
Yeah,
But yes, yes. So
yeah,
shout out to Alana
yeah,
for
yeah.
recognizing that marrying
You should.
princesses Not all.
Maybe somebody should have sent Meghan Markle
the series, right?
but you know, Harry was also not like John, so it's like
no,
it's a little different. But still, but
right.
yeah. But yes, how would you not do? I agreed. But I research everything, so
I do too.
I think it's great that they're making it. Yeah, Tyler Perry. Like, who would expect that he would be? I mean,
so
that was so interesting.
I was like, Tyler Perry.
Yeah, I know. I was like, okay, hey, good for him.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Oh, so much. So, well, I'm trying to think if there's like any like other things with
that
this
stood out.
Well, there's the whole like okay. I'm very curious to see who Claw is, because there's that whole subplot with George like trying to get overthrown.
That came out of I wasn't anticipating that either. So you're right. And I wonder if that's how we had that narrative shift. If that will be an element that we see again in the fourth book.
Oh yeah. Yeah, well, it's interesting too, this whole thing where they think that Claw was noble born, and he said that his voice sounds familiar. So I'm like, who is he? He has these like acid burns on his face or something. So like he looks different, but I'm like, who is he? Is he someone we've met in an earlier book?
Might be.
What if it's like Alex?
You think so?
Maybe. It could be Alex. Because I don't know what happened to him, right?
Because we don't know what happened to Alex.
Yeah.
When was the last time we saw Alex was the last book, correct?
Yeah.
And then we don't know what because he wasn't mentioned.
No.
The entire book.
I bet it's Alex.
It probably is Alex.
It's probably Alex. I don't even remember if it is from the book, but like I'm like, oh, maybe that would be so interesting. Who knows? Yeah, they're saying clip thoughts about. Well, there you go. We're talking about Claw, yes. Isn't it the dude who was kicked out in the first book?
Do you mean? Oh, what's his face? I don't remember his name, but he was bullying Alana.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. That's also possible. Oh,
yeah, no spoils, Rachel. No spoilers.
Don't spoil it. We're just guessing. We're just speculating. And not made that connection. That's interesting.
Yeah, because
we had the guy that bullied her. Yeah, that's possible. I had forgotten.
Did we hear anything about him past the first book?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay, so I think it's either him.
It could be him.
Or Alex.
I do just feel like there's an unresolved arc with Alex, because we don't know if he was good or bad or like what his deal was. I do feel like I don't know.
Yeah, because we talked about the fact that we thought that there's two possibilities with Alex being controlled by Duke Roger, or Alex doing some of that on his own accord as well.
Right, and it was unclear.
It was very unclear.
Yeah, Alex is like, I can't, maybe shady. Yeah, I just feel, I want that. I don't know if that plot point is going to get resolved, but I want it to be. So I guess we'll see. Bully boy was the worst, yes. It's probably the bully. That's probably who Claw is. That would make sense, but
man, I almost wish it was Alex, though.
I mean, that would be interesting. Yeah. So I'm excited to read book 4.
I know. Right now, y'all got me sitting here speculating. First of all, what foolishness Tom is going to do and how this is going to resolve between him and Alana.
Yeah. Well, so Jessica, the thing is they mentioned that they can't tell Claw, that Claw has these severe acid burns on his face. And so he's like disfigured. But his voice seems familiar. So, but you're probably right. Like they'd probably be more likely to recognize Alex. So it's probably the bully, but yeah, that's true. Around enough to recognize his voice. You're probably right. It's probably the bully. That would make more sense because he hasn't been around for like years. And he would try to claw his way up, back up.
No pun intended. Oh my gosh.
No.
Yeah, I think that I'm sitting here trying to find the audiobook real quick, and it's available. Let me go ahead and check it out.
Yay. Yeah, I'm excited to see and remember how it wraps up. Oh, you know what's funny? Today I actually went to they just reopened this used charity bookstore recently that had
Mhm.
been shut down, and look what I found for $4.
Oh, that's pretty.
Yeah, it's one of the other ones because I don't own a lot of the other ones. So I was like, $4, sure, I will get that.
That's really pretty.
Yeah. It's the second book in another duology set in the same universe. So
Universe.
we'll see. Yeah. I'm glad somebody appreciated my pun. Thank you, Jessica. It's vaguely coming to me, yeah. Yay! Oh, I'm so glad. Yeah, I've been having fun rereading
Yeah,
them
it's
and
been
talking about
fun.
them. Yeah.
It's been really fun. And then I guess I wonder how our conversations are gonna differ when we read
The
what's it
Robin
called?
Hood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's gonna be a little different.
Yeah. I'm excited. Hey, so I guess I could ask you this. You don't have to respond on live if you don't want to, but I am actually also planning read-alongs for the fall. So if you are interested in joining that also, along with maybe some more people, I'm planning on doing a reread of the Broken Earth trilogy starting in September.
Yes, because I have not. Yeah, I haven't read it. So, and I have all 3 books already. So there you
And
go.
I've been wanting to reread. Okay, cool. I've been wanting to reread them. I have a couple other people interested too, so it'll probably be more of us, but
Mhm.
we're just going to do read-alongs all year, guys. It's going to be great.
Helps us get stuff read. And
Yeah.
I would have never picked up the series though. Had you not, and I forget now how we even got on topic about, was it during a live show?
It was during that podcast episode.
I was during a podcast episode. Yeah, I would have never picked these up.
I'm glad we did. Well, because I think you were talking about needing good crossover books for younger
Mhm.
teenagers, and I was like, maybe these books would be a good option.
Yeah, these actually will work pretty well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yay. Awesome. Let's see. Okay. Now people are commenting on stuff. I love this. Thank you. Yes. 100%. It's a good universe. We are going to be reading the Farseer trilogy. So her first trilogy, starting in June.
Yeah.
So June, that'll be our summer thing. And then September, October, November will be the Broken Earth trilogy.
The Broken Earth, yeah.
That's the 5 seasons?
The 5th season, Heather.
Oh, the 5th season. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, the 5th season. Yes, that is what it is. Oh, good. Yes, the 5th season by Anka Jemisin is book 1.
Okay. Chloe from
Cool.
This doing this later. Okay.
Someone else is doing it too. Awesome. They're really wonderful. I've been wanting to reread them since I read them the first time, basically. Because it's one of those series where you get to the end and you're like, oh, now that I know what I know, I want to read it again.
And see exactly how it unfolds. Yeah.
Yeah. They're amazing. Yay. Oh, cool. Yeah, I've been having also a lot of people asking me about doing a read along of those because I've mentioned that I want to reread them, and I get people in the comments a lot being like, do a read along, and I'm like, okay, yeah, let's do that. So there you go. Get things off people's TBRs this year. It'll be great. Cool.
Oh.
Awesome.
Any final thoughts?
I think that's pretty much it. I feel like we kind of covered things. Yeah, I feel like this was much more straightforward in some ways.
This one was
plot
super
is a little more, straightforward.
Yeah. It was. It was super
Yeah.
straightforward.
Yeah.
It was a lot less deciphering, I think. I think with the last one, I think there was a little bit more going on with characters in terms of like having to decipher and getting those, our love interests, and so it was, I feel
Mhm.
like a lot more going on in the second one, and this one was just kind of like point A to point
Yeah.
B.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like this is more unpacking like the ideas and the themes that she's
Yeah.
like addressing, which I appreciate those, which is why it was like for me this is still like a 4-star read, even though I didn't,
Mhm,
I think there are some things that don't age as well.
mhm.
But I still enjoyed it. So yeah, this is fun.
Wow.
Oh, cool. Well, you can join us. It's a great series. They're really good.
I haven't read them either, Jessica, and I have all 3 books. So I read
Great.
my first N.K. Jemisin sometime this year. I don't remember what month, but it happened. But it was the Inheritance trilogy, the first book in the Inheritance trilogy.
Yeah. It's funny because I read that first book after reading the Broken Earth trilogy, and it was really interesting because that was her debut.
Yeah.
And so, like, it was interesting going back and reading her debut afterwards because I was like,
Mm.
oh, I see how you were playing in this same sandbox of ideas. They just got more fully fleshed out later on in the
Yeah.
Broken Earth trilogy. So it was very interesting.
Yeah, I'm gonna be interested in seeing that and seeing how it changes.
Yeah. They're definitely the sort of books that are worth discussing because there's so
Mhm.
much happening in them. Like I'm excited
Yeah.
about the idea of like getting to actually read them with other people and talk about them. So I think that'll be fun. Cool. Well, any last thoughts from anyone in the chat, or I don't know if you have anything else for
We can marry if you want to. When?
join us, Heather. She's wonderful. Her books they have a lot happening in them. They're very thematically dense.
They
Um,
are.
they're so
From the one that I've read, I can agree with that.
yeah, and like this series is even more so than
So I've heard.
like yeah.
Somebody told me when reading this, you have to be okay with not knowing what's going on at first, and then eventually it all pull together.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I'm excited to read them again because
Mhm.
it's what it's sort of like how when you watch something like The Sixth Sense and you get to the end and then you're
Yes,
like,
yeah.
"Oh, now I want to
Oh,
watch
yeah.
the whole movie again."
So you could
That's how
follow. Yeah. Okay.
that's how the
Okay.
Broken Earth trilogy is. Like you get to the end of the series and you're like, "Oh my gosh, now I want to read everything again from the
Okay.
beginning."
That
So,
definitely, I relate to that because that's exactly how it was with The Sixth Sense.
yeah.
I watched it and I was like, "Oh, that's the ending," and then it was like, "Well, now that I know, let's look
Yeah.
for all the things that I possibly would have
Yes.
missed." Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Sometime in the summer, June, July. Okay. Give me, if we do it in the summer, let's stretch it out over like 2 months because summertime is usually my busiest time for work.
that makes sense because kids are out of school. I
Ugh,
mean,
ugh.
oh, I'm really excited. So, because the guidelines officially changed from like 6 feet apart to 3 feet apart,
Yeah,
starting Monday, my kids are going to be in school 5 days a week. I'm so excited.
you're winning. You are winning. You are officially winning. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. People are definitely like the vaccinations, the changing in like the social distancing.
Hmm.
It's bringing people out of the cracks and crevices of the earth. And oh man, oh man. So yeah, like, oh, y'all, I don't know what happened to Bethany. Bethany just disappeared. Now I'm on Bethany's channel by myself. Oh,
Sorry.
there you are. I was
I
like,
think I like accidentally hit the back button or something and I just like popped me out of the live.
I
Sorry.
was like, wait, I'm on Bethany's channel by myself.
It's
Um, yeah, definitely, cracks and crevices.
Yeah.
It's been
Well, we've all been through a traumatic year, so it's like, I think everybody's coping with that in different ways.
oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I just the weekends are a blessing for me, okay? So
I believe you.
and it's not bad, it's just it's exhausting,
Yeah.
and it's almost like I forgot how to be front facing because I didn't have to be super front facing for so long.
Hmm.
Curbside is a different ballgame, but having to be front facing, like, with people, like I used to, like, how did I do this? Like, how do I interact with humans again? Like, I don't,
Yeah.
so it's a lot of energy.
Yeah. I think it's getting used to it because I've seen other people saying stuff like, "How did I used to do this? Like going grocery shopping is exhausting." Like, it's like stuff like that, like just like
It
being around,
is.
you
Being
know,
around people is like,
people. So
this is a
yeah,
lot, yeah.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, no,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
well, I'm
I'm
glad you
sorry
got your second shot, and yeah, I know it's not the most fun.
that
I got my first one like a week ago.
Oh, yeah, that second one is no, and I got Moderna,
Me
no fun.
too.
My arm did swell up, but I had pain all the way on my left side of my body.
Oof.
So, it knocked me out. The second one did knock me out. So I'm
That's
not
what
gonna
I keep hearing. I'm like, oh my gosh.
yeah. And it was crazy because I had a colleague who was telling me, he was like, "Ash, the second one hurts." I was like, "No, it doesn't hurt." He's like, "Ashley, I'm telling you." And because when I got that first shot, I didn't feel the needle at all. Because when she said,
Yeah.
"Are you good?" I was like, I didn't feel it.
Yeah, I didn't feel the
This
needle
second
really.
time, I felt that needle. I sure did.
Shoot. Oh shoot. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Oh no. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
yeah, yeah. The headaches I the first time I
Yeah.
got it, I had the same thing too. I had a headache for 48 hours. Same thing
My
this
hu-
time.
my husband had Pfizer and he was fine, but I got
My mother
Moderna.
too. My mother, she got Pfizer. No reaction.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna be like drink so much the day before and after. Okay. You know what though? The good news is it's like for a couple days and then you're fine
Yeah, you're
for the
fine.
most it
Yeah,
doesn't last long. It's just like a pain
no,
for a couple
yeah.
days. So yeah. The
Just think
first one I
about
was
being
mostly just like my arm was sore for but
sore. Yeah.
yeah.
Just think about being kind of slightly, I wouldn't even say flu
Mm,
level. Some people have said that they felt like they had the flu,
yeah.
but I think for most people it's just feeling a little bit under the weather for a couple of days and then you snap right back.
Gotta hydrate. Yeah, hydrating is always good. Yeah, yeah. It'll be fine. But you know what? Feeling nasty for a couple days is a lot better than like being in the hospital or
And
like dying from COVID. So like
that's what I
I'll
keep
take
saying.
it. I'll take it.
I will take the 48 hours if that means that I won't end up in somebody's hospital.
Yeah, yeah. See, you just don't know. I think some people
No,
don't have a reaction. I don't know. We'll see. Either way,
and some
I'm
people
doing
yeah.
it next month. I've got my second dose. I'm excited. Be good. Yeah. My husband's like fully vaccinated because he's a professor, so he was like
Okay.
eligible before I was. But
Yeah, there was a huge debate in my state about our eligibility as librarians. They were debating whether we were frontline or not,
mm,
which I mean, but there was a lot of back and forth about that. And they finally consider us to be frontline. So we weren't, of course, healthcare was first phase. So we got in second phase, but literally all of the appointments, somehow my mother figured it out where like they opened up appointments before the actual day. So by the time the day came, all the appointments were gone. And they didn't ask for proof of anything. Like, my director was like, you need to take like your like a paycheck stub to prove that you're an employee. And like I got there and they were like, do you have your license? And then my colleague went, and then his sister went with him just to make sure he was okay. And they were like, do you want to get the vaccine? And she was like, you got extra? Like, yeah.
Oh man. Whereas like for a while it was almost impossible in New York to get appointments, and they only schedule them like 2 days out. So you can't schedule ahead of time. So it was like it took me, even after I was eligible, it took me a couple weeks to like snag an appointment, and I had to go like take a subway, but it was fine. It wasn't that bad. Yes, look, you know what? You can.
Yeah, Jessica, I heard about that too, which was my dad is disabled and he was not eligible, which that made no sense to me.
Yeah, this is an issue. This is what they're saying, is that now like red states and counties have significantly lower vaccination rates. Well, do you see the crazy stuff that people are saying? Because I look, like I don't really do much on there, but like my Facebook page, I feel like Facebook is like my window into conservative world.
I'm never on Facebook, but I peek to see the chaos, and then I walk out.
But like the things people are saying, like I see people saying like, oh, it causes like infertility and like paralysis, and I'm like, do you see how they like paused Johnson and Johnson because a very small number of people got blood clots?
Blood clots, yeah, and they had to do a whole review.
Yeah, like seriously, you think they're like hiding that this is causing miscarriages and paralysis? Please.
Man.
Anyway,
it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Like my mom was pissed, and she kept calling, my dad's doctor, like, hey, like, what's up with, like, he can't. So, and they were like, no, but fortunately his age kicked in and then he was able to get it. But before even being disabled, he was not able to get it. So, which I just don't get.
Yeah.
In the least bit.
Yeah. Thankfully, my parents are my parents actually got fully vaccinated and were able to come visit. So we saw them for the first time in like a year and a half, which was very nice.
Yeah, I get to see them for Mother's Day because we're all vaccinated now.
Yay. Yeah.
With the tater tot. So they're excited.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's like they miss the grandbabies. I know.
You do.
Yeah. Ooh, Jessica, goodness. That's rough.
Kansas. That is rough.
That's rough. Yeah. Oh, it's something else.
Oh no, I just can't do that. I said no.
Yeah. There's a lot. I mean, I think there's a lot of things we don't always prioritize or talk about. But yeah.
You're right.
Well,
we went down the vaccination.
I know. I'm trail. Like, I don't know what YouTube is going to do to this video, but okay.
Right. Well, because at least we said vaccination, so maybe.
Yeah.
That'll.
I don't know. Well, it's fine. Okay. Well, guys.
Oh, next date.
Fun. Oh, yes. So it'll be on Ashley's channel next month. When are we doing this? I think we actually picked a date. I have it written down. May 20th. Yeah. May 1st. I wrote it in my planner. May 28th, which is like the last Friday of the month.
Okay, that's actually, yeah, that works. I was about to
Okay.
say, wait, hold on. No, but yeah, it does work because I
Okay.
have a wedding that weekend, but it's not until the 30th. So we're good. We're good. We're good.
Great. Okay, so we will be on Ashley's channel, same time, Friday, May 28th, to talk about the last book in the series. And then
Yes.
we will figure out our plans for the summer reading, Robin Hobb. So,
Yes.
yeah. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, y'all.
Bye. Have a good night. Have a good weekend.